Welcome back to Ghost Pirate Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today we talk about the 10 best horror movies right now on Netflix. And with that, let's get to the list. Hellhole is a 2022 Polish horror movie directed by Bartosz M. Kowalski. It stars Piotr Zawalski, Olaf Labrzinko, and Sebastian Stanowitz. In 1987 Poland, a police officer investigating a mysterious disappearance infiltrates a remote monastery and discovers a dark truth about its clergy.
8 kobiet tu zaginęło w okolicy i trafiły tu do klasztoru. Były opętane, ale żadna stąd nie wyszła.
So I discovered this movie a number of years ago, and I've been a big fan of it ever since. And it really bugs me how little it's talked about and how there's basically nobody out there besides me talking about this movie. And it's so good. It's disturbing, it's creepy, it's atmospheric. It gets super dark and disturbing as the story unfolds, but it's also really mysterious and creepy in the way that it's told. At this year's Fantastic Fest, I was actually able to meet Bartosz M. Kowalski, the director of this film, and we became friends pretty quickly. Like, he's such a nice guy. Him and the writer of his newest movie, 13 Days Till Summer, were there representing that movie, which I was blown away by, and hopefully it'll get a distribution deal somehow here in the United States, and you guys will be able to check that one out because I love that movie. It was one of my favorites from Fantastic Fest. But just the way he directs movies, there's this real ominous feel in the way that it unfolds. But my favorite thing about this movie is just the way it looks, the whole atmosphere of it, the location, the costume design, the lighting. It's done in a way that just makes it feel so ominous and overwhelming. But the thing I am the biggest fan of in this movie is the ending. I'm not going to spoil it and say what happens, but it's the way that it's done, the way it looks, and just how out of nowhere in a lot of ways it happens. It is so amazing, but true nightmare fuel. But if you're looking for a movie that's moody and atmospheric, that is super haunting and will definitely stick with you, Hellhole is an absolutely fantastic pick. Dead Talent Society is a 2024 Taiwanese comedy horror movie, co-written and directed by John Hsu. It stars Chen Bolin, Sandrine Pina, and Gingo Wang. The story follows ghosts who want to be famous stars by being the spookiest and most successful in the underworld, using their scare tactics and performances on the living. This is such a wild movie. It's amazing to me that more people aren't talking about it. It's so fun, it's colorful, it's strange, it's silly and yet creepy and haunting, disturbing, but in a gallows humor twisted way, because it makes light out of some of the most disturbing ways someone can die. This movie just has a laugh at it all and doesn't take any of it serious, and so that may or may not bug you. At least for me, I thought it was a fun time, and the way that it's represented, the way that it's put together, it doesn't feel offensive or bothersome. Instead, it's just fun to watch. But it's bizarre and zany while also being gory and pretty graphic. It also has a great heart to it, where there's actually some really interesting characters that you're rooting for and a journey that they go on that's well written and interesting to follow. But yeah, this is definitely not a movie to take seriously. It's definitely a horror comedy. It's super funny though, while also having a lot of great horror elements in it as well. But I'm telling you, if this movie got more publicity, it would be a smash hit because it's so well done, so fun, and just really a great time, especially for the Halloween season. So do yourself a favor and check it out.
Tu sei la più preziosa qui.
A Classic Horror Story is a 2021 Italian horror movie, written and directed by Paolo Strapoli and Roberto De Fio. It stars Matilda Lutz, Francesco Russo, and Peppino Mazzata. It's about 5 friends traveling across country who get in a car accident, but when they recover, the road they were driving on has been replaced by an impenetrable forest and a wooden house.
We're in the middle of the woods. Non siamo I primi.
Che cos'è?
This movie is so good. It's another one that just blows my mind that it hasn't gotten more of a cult following, but it just goes to show you that foreign horror here in the States just never gets the love it really deserves. And I get it, but it sucks because a lot of Americans miss out on so many amazing horror movies by not reading subtitles or just shying away from foreign horror in general. And it wasn't by design to start this video out with 3 foreign horror movies, but it just kind of happened that way. And I didn't even realize that until just now. But it just shows that some of the best horror being done, period, is foreign horror. But this one gets brutal, it gets gory, it's twisted as all hell, takes you on this twisted, mysterious, winding journey that absolutely keeps you guessing throughout the entire runtime. It's also full of some really great surprises, things that I just did not see coming. But my favorite element about it is just how mysterious it is, how creepy it is in the way that things happen, where you're just left with these mysterious questions of what is going on, and the way that they present it here, the way things look, the way it unfolds, it just leaves this weird, uncomfortable pit in your stomach. But it's really well shot. I love the set design, the special effects, the gore, the graphics, all of that is really well done as well. So just in general, this is just a really solid, well done, entertaining horror movie that I highly recommend.
You have a beautiful imagination. It's going to get you into trouble one day.
Cobweb is a 2023 horror thriller directed by Samuel Bowden in its directorial debut. It stars Lizzie Kaplan, Woody Norman, and Anthony Starr. Horror strikes when an 8-year-old boy named Peter tries to investigate the mysterious knocking noises coming from inside the walls of his house, and a dark secret his sinister parents have kept from him.
Peter drew this?
Yes. Is he all right?
Peter has an overactive imagination.
This has quickly become one of my favorite spooky time of year horror movies to recommend, and to watch for that matter, because it's so fun in that creepy, spooky, not over the top, not so disturbing and twisted or any of that you're not gonna have fun with it and that's gonna necessarily stick with you. It's not that kind of horror movie. Instead, it's just a fun one, an entertaining kind of movie. And just like I'm a big fan of disturbing stuff that definitely will scar you, I'm also a big fan of movies that are a little bit lighter in their creepiness, feel more like a haunted house that you can just have fun with. And this scratches that itch perfectly, because the way it's shot, the mood, the lighting, the set design, the different mysterious, weird directions that the movie takes. On top of that, the cast is incredible in this. Lizzie Kaplan and Anthony Starr play just the most bizarre, creepy parents, and they very much remind me of the other mother from Coraline. They have that kind of feel to them. This movie in general has a similar feel to me to Coraline. But it's a movie that really flew under the radar when it came out. It came out in the middle of summer and it was just barely a blip on the radar. Later in the year, around Halloween, people started taking notice of it some in 2023. But little by little, it's gained more and more of a cult following. And I think one day this is really going to be a cult favorite because it just has all the things that make for a fun cult horror movie. But I just think it's a perfect pick if you're looking for something that's spooky and creepy and atmospheric. So absolutely add this one to your list.
7, 6, 11, 5, 4, 17.
28 years later, it's a 2025 post-apocalyptic horror movie, directed by Danny Boyle and written by Alex Garland. It's the third film in the 28 Days Later series and stars Aaron Taylor Johnson, Alfie Williams, and Ralph Fiennes. A group of survivors of the rage virus live on a small island, and when one of the group leaves the island on a mission into the mainland, he discovers secrets, wonders, and horrors.
11, 5, 9 and 20 miles today, 4, 11, 17, 32 the day before.
So I'm not gonna lie, it has really bummed me out that we all couldn't kind of come to an agreement on this movie, because I truly love it. I think it's special, and I had just such a great time with it. But I also totally understand why it doesn't work for a lot of people. After hearing so many people talk about it, like different sides and different opinions on this movie, I've kind of grown to get an idea of what the deal is here. And a lot of it is expectations, because the trailer was just amazing. But the trailer made it seem like a much more action-packed zombie, infected virus zombie kind of movie. And it's not that. It's much more of a dramatic, slow burn, intense, emotional movie. Yes, it does have infected monsters. And yeah, there's a lot of all of those things in it. But what it's really about at its core is a coming of age movie and dealing with learning about death and life and all of those things. And I think it's really special and well told for what it is. Unfortunately, that's not the bill of sale, so to speak, that we were given with that trailer. And so I understand a lot of people wanted to see a scary horror movie, and instead they got a dramatic slow burn, whatever you want to call it. But I still think it sucks, because if you were to put aside those expectations, I think a lot more people would have appreciated and enjoyed this movie. No matter what, I think the thing that we can all agree on is how amazing this movie looks. It is a well-shot movie. It's incredible to look at. The different special effects that are done, the locations, just everything aesthetically about this movie is incredible. Another thing you got to keep in mind is that this is part one. Next year in January, we get Bone Temple, the second part of this. And my hope is that people will go into that without having the biggest expectations, and that maybe we'll be able to all come to a closer agreement on that one. Maybe it'll have a little more action, a little more horror, and a little less drama. I don't know. But I always want everybody to be able to agree on things and have fun together watching movies. Politics is where we can all disagree. Horror movies is a place where I love when we can all come together and kind of have fun as one. Either way, I think this is a really special movie, but that's just my opinion. But if you have yet to check this out because you've heard, mixed reviews on it, so to speak, now is a great time, since all you got to do is click on it while it's on Netflix. I think it's one you definitely should be a part of the conversation and check out.
Emma, turn the filters off. Come on.
Host is a 2020 British horror movie, co-written and directed by Rob Savage. It stars Hayley Bishop, Emma Louise Webb, and Gemma Moore. 6 friends hire a medium to hold a seance via Zoom, but they get far more than they bargained for when things quickly go wrong.
Visualize us sitting in a circle. Spirit, we invite you to use us to pass on any communication. Is there anyone there? Please come forth.
This is such a fun, spooky one to check out. I think most people have probably seen this, but the fact that it's now streaming on Netflix means that an even wider audience will get a chance to see it now. And I love that. I really think it is one of those that really captures a moment in time during the pandemic, because I know that the whole horror community, for the most part anyway, I mean, no one ever completely agrees on something, but most of the horror community were able to come together and find this one little moment of happiness during lockdown that we could all enjoy together. But I think this still really holds up. It's a quick little 1-hour watch, but it's fun in this creepy, spooky way that especially if you're someone that uses Zoom quite often, it's easy to get immersed into and feel like you're experiencing something that's real. But I just think it's a fun little movie that's perfect for this time of year. So if you've yet to see it, do yourself a favor and check it out. Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight is a 2020 Polish slasher horror movie directed by Bartosz M. Kowalski. It stars Julia Winowa, Michael Lupa, and Wiktoria Gaskuska. A group of technology-dependent teenagers goes to an offline camp and faces a deadly killer lurking in the woods.
Wiecie, że w Polsce znika bez śladu 15 000 osób rocznie, z czego 1/3 w lasach.
No to my zawierzymy te statystyki w tym.
So here's another one that was made by Bartosz, the guy I was talking about earlier with Hellhole. This is his other movie. There's actually two of these, part 1 and 2, and they're both a lot of fun. But I love how this is such a throwback to, you know, those 1980s slashers, because the way it's shot, it has this real bright, shiny, almost pop culture, colorful vibe to it. So it's this fun summer camp and all that, but then it gets brutal and gets really gory and graphic and definitely gets into that Friday the 13th area of killing teens. But what I love the most is how it takes a twist and it doesn't do exactly what you think it's going to. And the killer isn't exactly what you think they're going to be. Because that's what I love so much about all of Bartosz's movies, is they're all unique in a way. They all have these little twists to them, these little things that make them feel different than movies that are maybe similar on the surface. But the cast here is great as well. They all do a really good job of feeling like real teens, real friends. And so you're rooting for some of them, but when they're getting mowed down, you're also having a good time with it. But this is definitely not a movie that takes itself too serious. It's just having a good time with this genre. So if you're in the mood for a fun body count slasher, this is one to definitely check out. Christmas Bloody Christmas is a 2022 horror movie. Written and directed by Joe Begos, it stars Dora Madison Berg, Jonah Ray, and Jeff Daniel Phillips. It's Christmas Eve and Tori just wants to get drunk and party. But when a robotic Santa Claus goes haywire and goes on a killing spree, she is forced into a battle for survival.
Santa?
I love this movie. It is so bonkers, so weird, just so much fun. I saw this in theaters back when it came out in 2022. It was actually shot not far from where I live, just up the hill. It's another Joe Begos movie, which recently I talked about his recent movie, Jimmy and Stiggs. He just is one of those filmmakers that just has a very DIY attitude in the way that he approaches it. He just wants to make a movie, so he goes and does it with whatever resources he has. But they're always over the top. They're always weird, zany, colorful, and fun. But this has this real grimy, grindhouse 1970s look to it. It's shot on film, and it just jumps off the screen because of that. It has that real exploitation almost way about it. It also gets gory and fun. There's lots of blood on the snow, and I think that's amazing. But his brand of horror is vulgar and offensive with a lot of foul language, a lot of gory, grimy, gritty fun in the way that he makes his movies. And because of that, his movies just don't work for everyone. But if this sounds like something that you would be interested in, then please do yourself a favor and add this one to your list. The Wretched is a 2019 supernatural horror movie, written and directed by the Pierce brothers. It stars John Paul Howard, Piper Curda, and Zara Muller. The story follows a defiant teen boy who faces off with an evil witch posing as the neighbor next door. Here's another very fun one in this creepy, atmospheric way. I put this on the list because I think the mood and the look and just the overall ambiance and atmosphere of this is a perfect movie for the Halloween season. It has this cold, creepy, dark quality to it that I think is just very fun. But it's not a horror movie that's reinventing the wheel or anything like that. It's not the most original horror movie you've ever seen. But I do think it's very entertaining, especially for a movie that is so overlooked. Because there are some visuals in this movie, a few scenes in particular, that really stick out to me that I will definitely never forget. But if you like moody, witchy, evil, creepy horror, this one is definitely worth your time. Deadstream is a 2022 found footage horror movie, written and directed by Joseph and Vanessa Winter. It also stars Joseph Winter and Milani Stone. A disgraced internet personality tries to win back his followers by live streaming himself at an abandoned haunted house, but he accidentally unleashes a vengeful spirit.
This is the most haunted house in the United States. Death Manor was built in 1880.
Mildred lived here for 8 years in this house. She hung herself at the end of this hall.
This movie is a blast. It is so much fun. I love that it's available now on Netflix because hopefully that means an even wider audience will be able to finally see this, because this movie is not at all what a lot of people expect it to be. It's one of those movies that you got to be patient for the first little bit because this character is annoying and you kind of want to turn this movie off. But then pretty quickly on, he wins you over and the movie becomes so charming and likable and fun while also being creepy and unnerving. There's an element of Evil Dead in this, just in the body horror and the evil spirits, the practical effects. All of it has a little bit of a DIY charm and the way that it all looks, but it's really well done, especially for a movie that's so small. But for a little tiny production movie, it packs a big punch. Like, there are some real scares in it, as well as some big laughs and just an overall fun vibe that is also creepy. This movie, I think, is a perfect pick for this Halloween season. So do yourself a favor this weekend, pick one of the movies off of this list, grab your popcorn and your candy, and enjoy! And like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. And remember, guys, horror can be fun. And I'll see you all next time.